Hi there and welcome to this video. My name's Ken and I am the owner of Tailored Learning Solutions Limited. We are a learning company and we've been doing a lot of our training through online methods in the last couple of months. And one of the sessions that we've been running is around successfully managing your stress. Now, stress is one of those topics that is widely talked about, and certainly in the last couple of months, a lot more people have been feeling that pinch, be it family life, not being able to see friends, uncertainty around us, what's going on. It's one of those topics that is talked about a lot more. And what I'd like to share with you today from this video are some of the things that have come out from the sessions that we've been running. And there's one in particular that I'd like to share with you today. Now, my videos aren't here to say this is right and this is wrong. What I hope you're watching this video for is maybe for you to create a few more questions that need answering. So I'm going to share with you some thoughts and some personal opinions, and then put some comments in the box below and just let us know what your thoughts are. Or maybe it might send you away to have a think about some of the things that I'm going to share with you and to do a bit more research. The topic that comes up more often than not when I run this session is this: good stress. Now, when I'm speaking to people and they are sharing with me their thoughts, the learners on the session always talk about, well, you need a certain amount of stress. There is such a thing as good stress that helps us to perform, it helps us to be motivated, it helps us to think clearly. And you don't need to look very far. If you do a little bit of a search on Google, if you do a search on YouTube, you can do a search on TED Talks, you will find no end of research that talks about stress as a good thing. And that's fine. I suppose one of the things that I want to share with you, though, is why do we say it's good when actually the majority of the time we only ever experience stress as bad? Yerkes-Dodson law suggested stress was a good thing as well. This is one of the earliest pieces of research that they did around how we perform as human beings. We need a certain amount of stress to be able to perform well. It goes back to what we were saying. It keeps you focused, it keeps you motivated, it keeps you thinking clearly. And this is what their research suggested. But let's just take a back step for a moment. Let's have a think about what is stress. So when I say the word stress to you, what kind of thoughts, what kind of feelings do you get around this particular topic? Quite possibly, they won't be feelings of joy, feelings of motivation, feelings of thinking clearly. But stress is an emotional response. It's an emotional response when we are unable to cope. It creates a physical response in us. It makes us sweat, increases blood pressure, increases heart rate, respiratory. What it also does is releases this particular hormone in us, and this hormone is called cortisol. It's a stress hormone. Its primary function is to cut off the frontal part of the brain, the logical brain that we use for critical thinking, because we don't want to be thinking critically when we are under times of threat. It's that fight or flight response. And this is what cortisol is really good at doing. It shuts off the critical thinking part of your brain and releases adrenaline into the body for your fight and flight mechanism. So why would we talk about stress as a good thing? Surely a chemical like this that cuts off critical thinking can't be good. Whenever we talk about stress, it's always in the negative. And stress is defined as feeling overwhelmed or unable to cope as a result of pressures that are unmanageable. And this is where I want to change some of the language that we use around stress. The language you use is very, very important. The brain reacts to different types of language. When we think of stress, we use words such as overwhelmed, unable to cope. So why would we talk about it as a good thing? Think about it. Think about how language affects you. There'll be words, there'll be phrases that everybody uses, and it will either have a positive or negative impact on you. When I use the word stress earlier on, does it bring thoughts of positivity, motivation, critical thinking, drive for performance? Or does it bring words like overwhelming, can't cope, unable to think clearly, losing your appetite, pains in your stomach? If it's the negative side, why would we describe it as a positive thing? My positive word is pressure. For me, if you feel motivated, if you have that drive to achieve your objectives, your life goals, whatever they may be, it's all defined by your ability to cope. And if your ability to cope is high with things that are going off around you, then language-wise, the brain actually responds better to the word pressure. Pressure means we have the ability to cope. If we've got 10 tasks at hand, but we have a lot of resiliency to cope with this, then we're feeling pressure. It's that motivates you. This is the thing that can be motivating. And this is the chemical in the brain that's responsible. Dopamine is released when we're feeling pressured. It's responsible for heightened senses and heightened thinking. Stress, on the other hand, releases cortisol. It's responsible for cutting off those senses. So why use the language? Pressure can help focus the mind. It can help us achieve what we want to achieve. It can enable us to take steps we thought we wouldn't take before. So this is the end of this video, and as I said, I don't want this video to be this is right, this is wrong. I hope you go away from here thinking, well, maybe I need to do a bit more research on this, and this is my opinion. I never describe, and I very seldomly hear people describe stress as a positive. I never hear colleagues and friends and family say to me, do you know what, Ken, I've had some really good stress today. I've been able to achieve my objectives. They don't use that word in that context. So maybe what they're actually feeling is high levels of pressure, and they have the ability to cope. If I was hearing words such as, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, I've just had this drop into my lap, I've got so many plates spinning, that type of language, and it could mean that they're losing their ability to cope. It could mean the cortisol is starting to be released into the body. The fight and flight responses are heightened. Well, thanks for watching this video. Leave me some comments below. Always interested to hear people's thoughts. Take care and look forward to seeing you on one of our other videos. Bye-bye.